Section 2 of Völsungasaga. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Völsungasaga by Anonymous. Translated by Eiríkur Magnusson and William Morris. Section 2, Chapter 6. Now, whenas Sigmund is loosed and the stocks are broken, he dwells in the woods and holds himself there. But Signy sends yet again to wot of the tidings, whether Sigmund were alive or no. But when those who were sent came to him, he told them all as it had betid, and how things had gone betwixt him and the wolf. So they went home and tell Signy the tidings. But she goes and finds her brother, and they take counsel in such wise as to make a house underground in the wild wood. And so things go on a while, Signy hiding him there and sending him such things as he needed. But King Siggeir deemed that all the Volsungs were dead. Now Siggeir had 2 sons by his wife, whereof it is told that, when the eldest was 10 winters old, Signy sends him to Sigmund, so that he might give him help, if he would in any wise strive to avenge his father. So the youngling goes to the wood, and comes late in evening-tide to Sigmund's earth house. And Sigmund welcomed him in seemly fashion, and said that he should make ready their bread. But I, said he, will go seek firewood. Therewith he gives the meal-bag into his hands, while he himself went to fetch firing. But when he came back, the youngling had done naught at the bread-making. Then asked Sigmund if the bread be ready? Says the youngling, I durst not set hand to the meal-sack, because somewhat quick lay in the meal. Now Sigmund deemed he wotted that the lad was of no such heart as that he would be fain to have him for his fellow. And when he met his sister, Sigmund said that he had come no nigher to the aid of a man, though the youngling were with him. Then said Signy, Take him and kill him then, for why should such an one live longer? And even so he did. So this winter wears, and the next winter Signy sent her next son to Sigmund. And there is no need to make a long tale thereof, for in like wise went all things, and he slew the child by the counsel of Signy. Chapter 7. So on a tide it befell, as Signy sat in her bower, that there came to her a witch-wife exceeding cunning. And Signy talked with her in such wise. Fain am I, says she, that we should change semblances together. She says, Even as thou wilt then. And so by her wiles she brought it about that they changed semblances. And now the witch-wife sits in Signy's place according to her rede, and goes to bed by the king that night, and he knows not that he has other than Signy beside him. But the tale tells of Signy that she fared to the earth house of her brother, and prayed him give her harbouring for the night. For I have gone astray abroad in the woods, and know not whither I am going. So he said she might abide, and that he would not refuse harbour to one lone woman, deeming that she would scarce pay back his good cheer by tale-bearing. So she came into the house, and they sat down to meat. And his eyes were often on her, and a goodly and fair woman she seemed to him. But when they are full, then he says to her that he is right fain that they should have but one bed that night. She nowise turned away therefrom. And so, for 3 nights together, he laid her in bed by him. Thereafter she fared home, and found the witch-wife, and bade her change semblances again, and she did so. Now as time wears, Signy brings forth a man-child, who was named Sinfjotli. And when he grew up, he was both big and strong, and fair of face, and much like unto the kin of the Volsungs. And he was hardly yet 10 winters old when she sent him to Sigmund's earth house. But this trial she had made of her other sons, or ever she had sent them to Sigmund, that she had sewed gloves unto their hands, through flesh and skin, and they had borne it ill, and cried out thereat. And this she now did to Sinfjotli, and he changed countenance in no wise thereat. Then she flayed off the kirtle, so that the skin came off with the sleeves, and said that this would be torment enough for him. But he said, "Full little would Völsung have felt such a smart as this." So the lad came to Sigmund. And Sigmund bade him knead their meal up while he goes to fetch firing. So he gave him the meal sack, and then went after the wood. And by then he came back had Sinfjotli made an end of his baking. Then asked Sigmund if he had found nothing in the meal. "I misdoubted me that there was something quick in the meal when I first fell to kneading of it. But I have kneaded it all up together, both the meal and that which was therein, whatsoever it was." Then Sigmund laughed out. He said, "Naught wilt thou eat of this bread to-night, for the most deadly of worms hast thou kneaded up therewith." Now Sigmund was so mighty a man that he might eat venom and have no hurt therefrom, but Sinfjotli might abide whatso venom came on the outside of him, but might neither eat nor drink thereof. Chapter 8. The tale tells that Sigmund thought Sinfjotli over young to help him to his revenge, and will first of all harden him with manly deeds. So in summertide they fare wide through the woods, and slay men for their wealth. Sigmund deems him to take much after the kin of the Völsungs, though he thinks that he is Siggeir's son, and deems him to have the evil heart of his father, with the might and daring of the Völsungs. Withal he must needs think him in no wise a kinsome man, for full oft would he bring Sigmund's wrongs to his memory, and prick him on to slay King Siggeir. Now on a time as they fare abroad in the woods for the getting of wealth, they find a certain house, and two men with great gold rings asleep therein. Now these twain were spellbound skin-changers, and wolf-skins were hanging up over them in the house, and every 10th day might they come out of those skins, and they were king's sons. So Sigmund and Sinfjotli do the wolf-skins on them, and then might they no wise come out of them, though, forsooth, the same nature went with them as heretofore. They howled as wolves howl, but both knew the meaning of that howling. They lay out in the wildwood, and each went his way, and a word they made betwixt them, that they should risk the onset of 7 men, but no more. And that he who was first to be set on should howl in wolfish wise. "Let us not depart from this," says Sigmund, "for thou art young and overbold, and men will deem the quarry good when they take thee." Now each goes his way. And when they were parted, Sigmund meets certain men, and gives forth a wolf's howl. And when Sinfjotli heard it, he went straightway thereto, and slew them all, and once more they parted. But ere Sinfjotli has fared long through the woods, 11 men meet him. And he wrought in such wise that he slew them all, and was awearied therewith, and crawls under an oak, and there takes his rest. Then came Sigmund thither, and said, "Why didst thou not call on me?" Sinfjotli said, "I was loath to call for thy help for the slaying of 11 men." Then Sigmund rushed at him so hard that he staggered and fell, and Sigmund bit him in the throat. Now that day they might not come out of their wolfskins. But Sigmund lays the other on his back, and bears him home to the house, and cursed the wolf-gears, and gave them to the trolls. Now on a day he saw where 2 weasels went, and how that one bit the other in the throat, and then ran straightway into the thicket, and took up a leaf and laid it on the wound, and thereon his fellow sprang up quite and clean whole. So Sigmund went out, and saw a raven flying with a blade of that same herb to him. So he took it, and drew it over Sinfjotli's hurt, and he straightway sprang up as whole as though he had never been hurt. Thereafter they went home to their earth house, and abode there till the time came for them to put off the wolf shapes. Then they burnt them up with fire, and prayed that no more hurt might come to any one from them. but in that uncouth guise